Hello, everyone. I am super excited to share today's guest with you. We have Dr. Manoj on the show today. Can you please introduce yourself really quickly to our listeners?
Thank you so much for inviting me, Jess. I'm Dr. Manoj Krishna. I used to be a spine surgeon for 30 years and I left medicine to start the HappierMe project. Our mission is to reduce suffering, help make people lead happier lives, make the world a better place.
Oh, I love that. What a great and important mission to make the world a happier place, to help people live better
Yes.
lives. How does that
And
play
reduce suffering.
in your work?
Okay, so we've created an app called the HappierMe app. It's got separate sections for adults and teenagers. And we're doing two core things. We help people feel better now. So put the fire out in their own mind, whether it's stress or anxiety or relationship conflict or whatever it is that's creating the fire. Because without that, you can't function, you can't think, you're overwhelmed with your emotions. Once the fire is put out, and we use breathing and meditation and mindfulness and journaling and tapping and all those exercises to calm the mind down. But then we do something that's really important. We give users a toolkit to find out why the fire started in their mind in the first place. Because if you can find out why the fire started, then you can prevent it from happening again. And to understand that, you need to understand one other really important fact, which is in any situation where there's a fire in our mind, call it stress or anger or anxiety, it doesn't matter. There are two things going on. There's a trigger on the outside, could be something somebody said or something didn't happen or whatever. And there's a reaction, automatic reaction in our own mind that creates that fire in our mind. Right? Now, we don't see the reaction. All we see is the trigger on the outside, and we experience the fire on the inside. So we assume the fire is caused by that trigger. So we either need to change the trigger, and if we can, of course, but so often we can't. And so the fire keeps burning, you see, in our own mind. And that's why the world is suffering so much. Once you realize, it's the automatic way your mind reacted that created the fire in the first place, then you can go on this journey of learning about your own mind. And the more you learn, the more you become in charge of that reaction. So the fire doesn't start in the first place. See the beauty of that? And all we're doing is offering people a toolkit. So if you're interested in living a life without stress, anxiety, depression, relationship conflict, all of that suffering, and you're willing to do the work, see, that's the caveat. You have to be willing to do the work.
Yes.
Then we're going to support you every step of the way and give you a toolkit to understand your own mind so you can learn why the fire started and put in place measures so the fire doesn't start in the first place. So each time there's a fire, there's an opportunity for learning. See? Just like a fire brigade, if they come into the house and there's a fire somewhere, they want to know why it started and they'll put in place measures. It was an electrical short circuit or the fridge, whatever it is, you see, because otherwise it's going to keep happening. And that's what's happening. So that's the beauty of this work, and it can be completely life-changing. And if I can change my life, then you and I can live in peace with each other, right? Because if my mind is on fire, I have no space to love another person. Right? I have no space to care about another person. All my energy is going on managing this fire in my mind. And by the way, 80% of us are stressed, anxious, depressed, or have some fire or the other going on, whatever you call it. So if we could live with that peace in ourselves, we have greater space to love another.
Mm.
and a greater chance to live in peace with another person. Because the more I understand my own mind, the more I realize, Manoj and Jess, we're the same human being deep down.
Yeah.
And so it brings great compassion, you see. And we can then live in peace with another person. And if you and I can live in peace with each other, we can have peace in the world. And that's the
Oh,
big prize of this project.
oh, I love that. And a couple of things. One, 80%. 80% is what you said of
Yes,
people have fires going.
yes. So
And I think,
70 to 80% of people are stressed. Yeah,
yeah, I think
yeah,
we feel that in our everyday navigations of the world. Like I think we see
yes,
that play out in front of us. We take that on, and a lot of times I think we see the fire externally and don't reflect and see those
yes,
triggers in ourselves. And so what I love about your app
yes,
is it does both pieces. There are a lot of mental health apps out there. There are a lot of apps that are trying to to be built in this space. What I love about the one you've created is it has the immediate, let's put out the fire in front of us right now. Let's put out the immediate stressor. And then it follows up with that second piece, which is learning why you ended up in
yes,
that fire in the first place, so that you can design as best as you can your next steps to not end up in the same fire over and over. And I think your app does that beautifully. And I don't see a lot of other
yes,
apps that do both pieces, right? Put out the fire
yes.
and give you the
Maybe we
tools
should
so that
give
we don't
your
get silly.
listeners an example.
Yes, yes, I would love that.
Shall we give the users an
Yes,
example, our listeners an
yes,
example? Because otherwise, it just is just words, right? Okay.
yes.
So my best example is, say I'm looking at social media, and you're my best buddy and you've been on this amazing holiday, and before I know it, oh, you've got a promotion or whatever it is, new
Yeah.
car. I start thinking my life is worthless.
Mhm.
I start thinking, oh, I'm a failure. I'm envious. I don't even notice the envy. I just notice, oh, Jess has made me feel bad. So I'm not going to talk to Jess. Or I start feeling all this stuff. I'm failure, negative, etc. And this loop of negative thinking then becomes a real loop, doesn't go away, and gradually gets worse and worse. So I end up depressed, etc. So we use the app, we do the breathing, we feel better. Then we ask a question. The question, you see, is the key. What's going on in my mind to make me feel this way? What's going on? I'm playing Sherlock Holmes here. I'm a detective. If you tell me the answer, it's not going to land. I need to find it for myself.
Yeah.
And if I look carefully, I'll say, what's the common thing here? And then I realize, my mind's comparing all the time, but I'm not aware of it. See, it's happening in the background without my own awareness. See,
Mhm.
so now I wake up and realize, it's not what Jess did and posted on social media. It's the way my mind reacted to that created all these feelings in me. So it's my mind that's created my own suffering. Right? So I'm curious now. I'm going to go on this journey of learning about it. So when I talk to kids and I say, how would your life change if you had a greater awareness and understanding of your own mind, and you only compared yourself with others when it served you, not automatically like it does now, right?
Right.
And just this 13-year-old girl told me, I would be free. See the beauty of that. See? So this understanding is simple. The looking and learning is easy, but the impact on our lives can be life changing. But there's a couple of things we have to keep in mind on this journey of looking and learning about ourselves. The first is we have to develop our sensitivity to notice what's happening in ourselves. So for that, we need a mind that's quieter. So we do the breathing, the meditation, the mindfulness work. We spend time being quiet So when a thought arises or something arises, we can notice it. So we have to have this sensitivity. The second thing is we have to be able to look at ourselves without judgment, because our mind is also judging all the time. I'm judging others as good, bad, right, or wrong. I'm judging myself as right. I shouldn't have these thoughts. I should be better. I shouldn't.
Right.
When you judge, you stop looking and learning. You can't learn if you're judging, right?
Right.
As soon as I judge you as good or bad or right or wrong, I stop noticing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You
in
lose that
myself, I need to
instinct to
stop
be
judging myself.
curious. Yeah.
Curious, see? So that curiosity is important, the lack
Mm-hmm.
of judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And the next step is really difficult for lots of people, which is just to take ownership and realize, the trigger might have been on the outside, but the reaction was in me. I'm going to take ownership of this reaction. This envy is not Jess's fault. This feeling of my life is worthless, it's not anybody's fault. It's nobody's, not even my fault. It's just the way my mind is automatically working, functioning, reacting. So when I can be curious, accept that it's coming from me, and take ownership, then I can begin a journey of learning.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, this feels difficult, see. But just to reassure them, everyone, that it's not difficult. It's like you and me, we're looking at the moon together. We would not say it's a good moon or a bad moon, or the moon is right or wrong. We just say it's a moon. We're just looking. Similarly, we need to look at our own mind in that way, just objectively, with compassion. What's going on? We're curious. See? So hopefully that's an example of this understanding, or let's call it wisdom, in
Mm.
action, and how simple it is and how life-changing it can be.
That was a great example. It was, I think it's an example that most of us can relate to, right? Especially in the world of social media, and that
Yes,
our comparing mind. That is how our mind works. And when we understand that,
yes,
then we can be more compassionate to ourselves and to everyone else. Um,
yes,
you
yes,
spoke so eloquently, and you showed how life changing this can be. I want to ask you an even bigger question than life changing, because someone who's done a lot of this work and who is on this journey, like, I can say, yes, it has changed my life, doing the inner work and
mm,
learning how I react and what triggers my reactions. But
mm,
I want to take us a step further and speak to how world changing this can be. So what
yes.
can our
You know,
world look
mm,
like if we all develop our emotional intelligence, to work better for us?
yes. You know, Margaret Mead has this very beautiful, famous quotation: never doubt that a small group of determined individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. See?
Yes.
So every time one person changes, it creates a ripple effect which is beyond our own understanding, that creates a positive ripple in the world. Just like a negative ripple, it does the same thing. So imagine if this understanding could end war. Shall I tell you how? And or this understanding could deal with global warming in a better way. Now, there are two big problems facing humanity right now,
Yeah.
for which there doesn't seem to be an answer. Endless peace talks, no answer. 120 wars are alive in the world right now. Endless conferences, climate change is getting worse every year. How can the simple act of understanding our own mind help to solve both those problems? Right? Everyone who's listening would say, that's a bridge too far, Manoj, but it only takes a minute. And by the way, what I'm about to tell you, 10-year-old children get it in a heartbeat.
Mm.
So if you don't understand it right now, you need to reflect on why, because 10-year-old kids get it straight away. Okay, how could we end war? Say you're Russian, I'm Ukrainian, or Palestinian, or Israeli, or India, doesn't matter where you are. On either side of this divide, you're about to kill each other. We pause and we ask a simple question. Why? Why are we about to do this? What have you done to me? What have I done to you? Oh, because you're Russian, I'm Ukrainian. How did you become Russian? How did I become Ukrainian? From being born as an ordinary human being, how did we become this? It was our conditioning, see? Neither of us were aware of our conditioning, and yet it had this enormous impact on us, and we became attached to that idea of being Russian and Ukrainian, and that created this sense of identity. So I am this and you are that, right? We forget we're the same human being underneath, but we put this cloak on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why we're about to kill each other. But it's the same process in you and me. Do you understand? Same
Mm.
process of conditioning. And the moment you're conditioned and attached to one identity, and I'm conditioned and attached to another identity, then somebody else has the authority to manipulate or to tell us what to do. Yes, I will go and kill. Just give me a gun. And all the environment is perfect. If I go and kill you and come back home, I'll get a medal. I'll be celebrated. I'll be a war hero. And the more people I can kill, the bigger the hero I will be.
Mm.
I do this on my side of the border, or I'll go to jail. Right?
Right.
Can
Right.
you imagine what we human beings have done to each other, right? So the moment you and I see clearly what's going on, that we're the same human being, my right hand would not go to war with my left hand because it's connected to the same body. Or, as children tell me beautifully, chocolate ice cream would never go to war with vanilla ice cream because they both know they're still ice cream.
That's right. That's
Right?
right. Yeah.
Children get it, you see, so we've
Yeah.
forgotten. So this understanding, but you have to feel it really deep down that you are the same human being, and that could end war. Okay. How could this end climate change or address climate change in a fresh way? 20,000 scientists, I remember, signed a letter, which was published in the Guardian newspaper here, which said that overconsumption is driving climate change. We humans are consuming far more than we need. That's what's driving climate change. Why are we consuming more than we need? See, it's this emptiness in us that seeks to be filled with things from the outside, with buying things, buying experiences, all the things we get. But you know that emptiness can never be filled from the outside. You buy one thing, you feel a little burst of pleasure. As soon as it ends, you feel empty again, and you need to go and do something more. The greater the pleasure, the greater the emptiness you feel. See? So the cycle keeps repeating. So on day one, you might pick up the phone and spend 10 minutes browsing TikTok or YouTube or whatever, or some social media. By the end of the month, you're on 5 hours a day. Because the
Mm.
more you stimulate the mind with pleasure, the more stimulation it needs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so this we don't see this process going on in ourselves. The answer doesn't lie. I'm not saying that pleasure is wrong, holidays are wrong, buying things. Of course not at all. But if we lived with this peace in ourselves, consumption would find its natural balance. Right?
Mm.
So nobody
Yeah.
have to tell me what to do because I would just naturally. And these two arguments or ways of looking at problems are not common currency in the world right now. Right? Because we
Right.
don't see the root of both of these problems lies in our own thinking, in the way our mind is wired. And just a deeper understanding of what's going on through curiosity, compassion, allows us to transform our lives, and that then can change the world.
Oh,
What do you
the
think?
power of it all. The power of it all. Um, and what I love is, well, I love a lot of it because yes, I there is so much going on in the world that doesn't need to be happening the way it is. But I love that the
Yes.
power is in us. The power is in
Yes.
every single human walking the earth
Yes.
to create a better life for themselves, to end suffering for themselves. And then again, that's the catalyst for how we change the narrative of our shared world and shared humanity with one another.
Yes. 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 Imagine that every person listening could realize they can be the architect of their own happiness.
Mm.
Their happiness doesn't have to depend on their circumstances,
Right.
on the world changing, or people changing, or their circumstances changing. They can find that peace in themselves right now. They can be the firefighters to end their own fires and end their own suffering. See,
Yeah.
imagine that. Imagine if somebody gave you a toolkit and said, here's something that could help you end your own suffering, but you have to work for it. There's no free lunch, right?
Right.
Just
Right.
like a firefighter has to actually do the work of putting, and so on. So it's a good analogy. Uh, but I see so clearly that so much of our suffering is created by our own thinking
Yeah. Yeah.
in how it
What,
automatically reacts to the world.
yeah. What do you think gets in the way of us wanting to put in the work?
Yes. I have had lots of these conversations, Jess, with people. I'll give you an analogy. Here's a glass of water, and here are 1,000 books that tell you what water tastes like. Now, we humans are content to read the books, repeat the books, become PhDs and masters of the books. Then we fight with each other. No, my book is right, your book is wrong. And we spend our lives doing that. And we think because we read the book, we know.
Mm.
Everybody thinks they know. But no book can tell you what water tastes like. You have to drink it and find out. And once you drink that water, all division ends because you know, I know, like you and I know, right? Together on this
Right.
call, what it is that we're talking about. There's no
Right.
division between us. It doesn't have a name. The taste of water doesn't have a name. See the beauty of that.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
understand? And so this work is so simple. It begins with looking, noticing what's happening. I'm feeling envious. Okay. Okay. What's going on? Why? Curious. Like children have this curiosity. What's going on? Just as we have this curiosity about the world outside, we need to have the curiosity about the world inside. And we need to
Mm.
begin in education. So that just as we teach children numbers, 1+1, A, B, C, whatever, we also teach them to notice, to learn about themselves and their own mind. And in this noticing, they can be free. And children, I'm telling you, are beautiful. And if you take the trouble to teach them, they get it really well, you know. So I
Yeah.
remember talking to some children and asking them, what's the root cause of fear? Anxiety is like 40% in the world, roughly.
Yeah.
And after a long discussion, this girl who with the freckles, and I've got this recorded, she said, it's our imagination playing up. Because it's not real, right? Fear is, it's an
Right.
imaginary thing. It's going to happen in the future. It's the imagination playing. So then I went back 3 months later to that school and I asked these children, we had that chat 3 months ago. what difference did it make to your life? And this boy said to me, my grandfather died, and I was worried that my parents were going to die as well. But then I remembered our conversation and I realized it's just my imagination playing out. And my fear went away.
Wow.
See the beauty of that. So if we can bring this understanding to education, to children, and when I talk to them, they say this is more important than anything else we're learning because everything now is on your phone, right?
Right. Right.
Instantly accessing information. Why do we torture them? Memorize this. If you can memorize it, you're a success. If you can't, you're a failure. Exams, all of that.
Right.
And
Right.
this thing, which is so much more important, how to be an excellent human being at peace with yourself, that's not
Whew.
being taught anywhere. See? So this is what we need to do, I think, to change the world.
Oh, I love that because that's my next question. Like, what is the roadmap to get from where we are to a world where there is more peace because there's peace within each of us, and there's more compassion and curiosity.
Yes.
And I think I love that you went to the schools and what we're actually teaching our kids, because that says what's important. But how do we actually do that? What's the
Yes.
roadmap for that?
Okay. Well, I see really clearly that those of us who can, who have an understanding, need to step up. Don't hide under the rock. Come out. Step up. Share this understanding with your friends. Don't be shy because it's for their benefit. Everybody suffers. And here is a toolkit for people to end their own suffering. And the beauty of it is it's based on you learning about yourself, not according to some book, but as you are. Like you and I looking at the moon. Nobody owns the moon. Nobody created the moon. I can't say, that's me. We're just looking and learning about our own mind that we share. So step up, share this understanding, begin your own journey of looking and learning, because that's the ultimate gift you can give the world, is you become a light and shine in the world. And this light is easy. It comes from just looking and learning. It comes from kindness, compassion, flows out of this. All you need to do is one thing: look, be curious, learn. And that looking and learning does all the work of bringing this transformation. See, and by the way, none of this means, it doesn't mean that you're not pursuing a career. You're not, looking after your family, looking after your material needs. We're not saying that at all. But you can do it in a way that you don't suffer anymore. See, what's the purpose of life with all the gift of life is so beautiful, and we waste it with all our suffering. I mean, just look at, no matter how much money and power you may have in the world, the one thing that you don't have is peace.
Mm.
And that peace isn't going to come from the outside, only comes from the inside. See?
Yeah.
And and if this resonates, join us, talk to us, say, hey, what can we do together? And if we can share this understanding with more people in the world, we can,
Yes.
in a generation, change the future for humanity. This is my dream.
That's so it's a great dream. It's my dream too. It's my dream too. Um, I love that um, you made it very clear that this is something we can do in these spaces and jobs and roles that we already navigate. This inner work,
Yes.
to get our light shining, is for those spaces, and we don't have
Yes.
to give up those spaces, um, to bring light
Yeah.
into the world. I think that's a really important thing for people to understand, because that's where we can have the most impact, is navigating our lives,
Yes.
with more peace and understanding.
Yes. Our mind is wired to think that the more extraordinary our life is on the outside, the more extraordinary it'll be on the inside.
Mm,
And that's an erroneous judgment, because that's not true. Just
right.
talk to the people with all the money and wealth. Jim Carrey once famously said, I want everyone to be rich and famous, so they realize that's not the answer.
Right. Right.
With this work, this inner work, your life on the outside can be really ordinary, but on the inside, it's extraordinary.
Mm,
See the beauty of that. So it doesn't matter then how rich you are, how poor you are, what kind of job you have. It doesn't matter. What matters is this extraordinary energy you carry in yourself, in the world.
mm,
Otherwise, you're constantly tossed from one storm to the next, right? Something good happens, you feel good, then something changes and you feel bad again, and your whole life is spent tossing in the
right.
storm of life.
It's all reacting.
Whereas
Yeah.
with this approach, yes, you can be the architect of your own peace, of your own happiness.
Mm,
And that can change the world for the better for you and your loved ones for
yes.
generations to come.
Yes.
See?
So before we
Now, for
wrap
a
up
lot
our
of people
conversation,
who are
yes,
listening, what can we tell them? What can we tell people who are
yes,
listening to
yes,
this?
that
Because
was
they
going to be my
might think
question.
this is a
What can
bit
we tell them?
strange.
Yes. What what is something that our listeners can do or take away right now in this moment, um, to start down this journey for themselves?
Okay, here's something simple. Everyone's got a phone. Download the HappierMe app today. Sign up, begin a free trial, and just start exploring.
Mm,
Take any bit you like, begin exploring. Like we've got these beautiful awareness exercises. For example, if you go on this journey of learning about your own mind, you learn our mind assumes what we think is true. And you think, oh my golly, that's absolutely true. So maybe I should start questioning some of the assumptions I'm making. So what assumption can I question today about myself and about somebody else? What assumption can I question today? That's a question, you see. What can I
mm,
learn about myself today? What's the kind thing I can do for myself and for someone else today? Kindness needs to be intentional, otherwise, it doesn't happen. But that's a simple thing. Download the app, start exploring. It's a free trial. And remember, there's a separate section for teenagers. So if you're a young person, but the greatest gift you can give yourself is the gift of this wisdom, self understanding, which brings light and peace, right?
oh, thank you. Thank you so much for the conversation today. Thank you for your work. It is so needed. And I love that there are so many people who are sharing the knowledge and wisdom of their own life experience in the ways that they can. You are a part of so many other people's journeys now, that you are sharing your light in this way. So thank you for coming on and sharing with my listeners today.
Yes, thank you so much. We are so aligned in the way we look at the world. So thank you for doing this and bringing these conversations to light.
Oh, it's my pleasure. This is my joy doing this for everyone. So thank you so much.